Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, so this week in AI, wow, the battle lines are really being drawn. We're seeing walled gardens go up, these billion-dollar fortresses being built, and a whole wave of new tools that could honestly change everything. Let's break down what this actually means for you. You know, the whole AI landscape, it feels like it's shifting under our feet, doesn't it? Behind the scenes, the giants are making these huge power plays for dominance. But the real story, the thing that actually affects you and me, is how all that fighting is spitting out a brand new generation of tools. Tools that could fundamentally change how you work, how you create, and how you build. We're going to cut through the noise and show you what really matters. So let's connect some dots, shall we? We're going to start with this high-stakes chess match being played by the industry's biggest names. And then we'll follow that thread all the way down to some incredible new tools that you can literally get your hands on right now. All right, first up, the power plays. You know, in this race for AI supremacy, the gloves are definitely coming off. We're seeing companies making some seriously bold, aggressive moves to lock down their turf and get any edge they can. The competition, it is getting fierce. So check this out. Anthropic is basically locking down its entire ecosystem. They found this clever little workaround that folks were using to get access to their top model, and they shut it down. And who did that hit? Well, rivals like Elon Musk's xAI, who were reportedly using Claude to train their own models. So yeah, this isn't just some simple security patch. No. This is a big, strategic shot across the bow in this whole AI war. And if you look at this timeline, you can see this is not a one-off thing, not at all. It's just the latest move in a very deliberate strategy. I mean, they started by cutting off smaller players, and now they're blocking giants like xAI. Anthropic is systematically building a big old walled garden around its tech. Why? To protect that all-important competitive edge. Okay, so while Anthropic is building walls, OpenAI is playing a totally different game to get ahead. Get this, they're reportedly asking their contractors to upload their actual work files. We're talking Word docs, PowerPoints, Excel sheets, the real stuff. And you might be asking, why would they want that? Well, because that messy, real-world data is absolute gold. It's the kind of stuff you just can't scrape off the internet. And it is so critical for training models to understand, you know, the messy reality of how we actually work. So this digital arms race, it's not just happening in the cloud anymore. Oh no, it is spilling out into the real physical world. And it's triggering this infrastructure boom on a scale that's just, it's massive. We're talking nation-state level stuff here. The amount of money involved here is just staggering. Seriously, we're not talking about your typical corporate investment. We're talking about the kind of money entire countries spent. And it's all pouring into one thing: building the physical backbone for the future of AI. So where is all that cash going? Well, look no further than this. Elon Musk's company xAI is building a $20 billion data center campus down in Mississippi. They're calling it MACROHARDRR, which is kind of fun. But get this, it is the single largest economic project in the entire history of the state. And its goal is simple: become one of the most powerful AI training facilities on the planet. Okay, so you've got these giants fighting, you've got billions being spent on buildings. What does any of that mean for you? Well, here's the payoff. It means a whole new wave of incredibly powerful, super specialized AI tools are finally hitting the market, and they're putting all this tech directly into your hands. And a perfect example of this, the Viwoods AiPaper Reader. It's this really cool e-ink device, kind of like a Kindle, but it does something pretty remarkable. It literally embeds an AI assistant right into the pages of whatever you're reading. And how it works is just so simple. You're reading along, you find a paragraph or maybe a formula or a block of code that just has you totally stumped. You just highlight it, then you can type or even just speak your question, and boom, you get an instant explanation from a top-tier AI model. And what's really cool is it saves all your conversations, so you're actually building your own personal knowledge base as you go. And it's not just cool hardware either. A whole ecosystem of software is just popping up to solve these really specific problems. Like if you're a content creator, there are tools now that can take one idea and spin it out into scripts, thumbnails, and posts for YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. If you're an entrepreneur, there's AI that can pressure test your business ideas with actual data-backed insights. And for musicians, you can turn your words into a complete original music track, ready to go. This is AI getting super tactical. So with this rapid explosion of money and tools, it's forcing pretty much everyone, from the developers coding this stuff to the investors funding it, to kind of step back and ask a really big looming question. Is this a real revolution, or are we just watching a massive bubble get bigger and bigger? Okay, so the first part of this debate is all about quality. You've probably heard the term AI slop, that low-quality, mass-produced AI content that's everywhere. Well, Linus Torvalds, the guy who created Linux, he weighed in on this, and he basically calls the whole debate about labeling it pointless posturing. His argument? The bad actors, the people making junk, they're never going to raise their hands and admit it anyway, so what's the point? And that concern about quality, it feeds right into the biggest debate of them all. When you see trillions in market value and billions upon billions in new funding, the question that's on everybody's mind is, are we in a massive AI bubble? And is it about to pop? And right now, the top minds in the industry are completely, totally split on this. On one side, you've got NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang. He's all in. He just dismisses any fears of a bust. Then, somewhere in the middle, you have OpenAI's Sam Altman, who's a bit more cautious. He admits investors might be getting, quote, a little overexcited. But then on the complete other end of the spectrum, you've got Michael Burry, the guy from The Big Short, and he is sounding the alarm, drawing direct parallels to the dot-com mania. So what's the bottom line? There is absolutely no consensus. Nobody agrees. Okay, so we've talked about the power plays, the billion-dollar construction projects, all the cool new tools, and these huge debates. So when you put all of that together, what's the actual signal we should be paying attention to? What's the real takeaway this week? Well, it really boils down to 3 powerful trends. Trend number 1, the big platforms are closing up shop. They're building those walled gardens to protect their tech. Number 2, the investment in physical infrastructure it's scaling to historic levels. And number 3, the tools themselves are getting way more specialized and personal, embedding AI right into how we work every single day. And all of that leaves us with one final thought, really. We're in this weird moment where the big platforms are getting more restrictive, they're closing their doors. But at the same time, all these powerful new tools are becoming more accessible than ever. So the real question for you is, how will you adapt? The key to staying ahead is going to be knowing which doors are closing and which new ones are opening up for you to walk right